Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing okay. We're back here with another One Leeds episode. Please do me an absolute solid. Slap a like on the video. Please get your comments in as well. We're speaking everything Leeds United this morning. It's your 10 o'clock. Three things we learn, although it's going to be a little bit of a bumper preview, everybody. A bumper look ahead, I should say, for the final three games. And it's going to be us speaking about probably not just three things, but a multi sort of combination of different things, to be honest with you. And I like doing these lives. I enjoy doing the live. So please get your thoughts in the comment section below. It is the morning after the game, before the morning after another horror show game week for Leeds United. And we're going to try be as truthful and as honest on this stream as well. And I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below. So shout out to everybody who's here. Looks like it's going to the Southampton game. Connor says, Paul. Glenn says, Connor, why would Cresswell, Anthony, Kamara and others want to stay? If by bad luck we don't go up under current manager. Cookstown's in the building. Hiya, mate. Ruby said, bottle jobs. Mucker North has said, Daniel's tough love looks more psychological abuse to me. Don't forget Jaden Anthony. His short game time versus the ability he's demonstrated is completely unjustified. This morning, player favourites, weird sub-decisions. Spence, Cresswell, Joseph, similar patterns and stories of behaviours at Norwich. Yeah, and we're going to get into that. Hi, Keir. Hello. And yeah, Phil, you are bang on the money. It's not over. It's definitely not over right yet. You know, you've got three teams who are underperforming. The problem is, even in those three teams who are in diabolical form at this moment in time, Leeds United are probably sitting bottom of that three form table at this moment in time. And I think we need to get into the bits of what's going on at this minute. So please make sure you slap a like on the video. And I'm going to be interactive through this, but I just want to get some of my thoughts out there as always, everybody. Well, let's get into it. So teams playing for something is something that I wanted to discuss. Leeds United at this moment have been playing two teams in Sunderland and Blackburn, and we haven't scored a goal, and both have been at home, and we've got a point between both games, who've had nothing to play for. Nothing. Blackburn sat in 18th before the game started, just got drubbed off Bristol City away from home. Nothing to play for. Nothing. Sunderland in the mire, really, at this moment in time. You know, a lot of defeats in there. They did okay yesterday. Obviously, got that victory. Fantastic win for them yesterday with Dodds. But once again, Leeds United have sort of spiked their confidence when it comes to actually going into some away performances and getting results. Sunderland have been appalling for sort of 2 or 3 months now. But two teams who've had nothing to play for. Now, I worry going forward with this Leeds United side, and listen, these videos have to start with worries because that's what it is now. Being a Leeds United fan in this season, it is worry, it is anxiety, it is a problematic zone, the red zone, if you will, for Leeds in terms of form. I mentioned yesterday, we've gone from 1st to 17th in terms of form, but we are a little bit in the red zone when it comes to performances, results, individual brilliance, and that is a big worry, a huge worry. So coming up, we've got three teams who all have something to fight for. QPR, who are just above the relegation zone, 47 points, beaten yesterday handedly by another average championship side. And we had the similar thing with Blackburn, didn't we, where they got pumped by Bristol City, came to Elland Road and won. So we've got them away from home. Is it going to be easier for Leeds to play away from home at the minute? It actually feels like it, which is crazy to say. But Leeds at home at this moment in time, it feels like the tension is rising and rising and rising to the top, which is a bit of a worry because we all know what Elland Road can be like. And that isn't an excuse because the players on a lot of money. They've got to deal with it, quite frankly. So maybe away from home will help us, but the Coventry game was probably indicative of it not helping us, as was the Watford game post-international break where we got battered for 65 minutes and we're lucky to get out of that one. But as I say, all these teams have got something to play for now. QPR on 47 points. I mean, look at the table. I mean, we're 40 points ahead of them. There shouldn't be a conversation here. The squad caliber, there shouldn't be a conversation here. We should be steamrolling QPR, absolutely steamrolling QPR. But we know it's going to be a tight game, and I think it could be a 1-0 either way. But at this moment in time, I'm not confident with Leeds United. Then you've got Middlesbrough, which is probably the worst game, in my opinion, right now in the Championship to come up against. And the added spice right now is the fact that they can't stand Leeds and they don't like Leeds and they're going to be right up for it. We all know it. And it's away from home at the Riverside, which is never going to be easy. It's probably going to be their sellout for the season, even though I don't think they'll go up, but they still have the chance to go up. So they've got something to play for. And then finally, on the last day of the season, you've got, obviously, Southampton, who will want to put a performance in before the playoffs, and there is potential that they could close in on the top two with what the top 2, 3 are doing right now. I think the obvious thing that we all know and we all will say going into this, and I don't really want it to just get completely confused right now. The team that finishes third, whoever that may be, could be us, Southampton, Ipswich, Leicester, whoever finishes third, I guarantee isn't going up. No chance. The team that finishes third will not be going up. Doesn't happen. Rarely happens in championship football. And especially when it's gone to the wire like it has this season, the psychological impact, physical impact of what's going on. The team that finishes third will not go up. The beauty of the team that finishes fifth sometimes and sixth is that they've had a run of form into the playoffs. But how we're looking at it right now is you're looking at Southampton, who really picked up their form. So if they're to finish fourth or whatever it is, you're probably looking at fourth putting a good case in as well. But out of the top three, whoever is to drop out, that third place is not going up, especially this season. That is 100% happening. And I would be stunned if that happened. One of them is going to have, we're all having psychological breaks right now, every single team in that top three. So one of them is obviously going to have to finish third. They ain't going up. No way. So that is why, in my opinion, it's just imperative that we stumble over the line in the top two. But right now, I think the biggest point that I'm making right now and today is the fact that we've played two teams who've got nothing to play for, and we've got 1 point out of 6. And the only reason we're having this conversation right now where our heads are above water is because the other teams have lost as well. If it had gone against the grain, we'd have been out of the conversation right now, completely out of the conversation. But we're looking at something right now where we're still in it, and Southampton have somehow clawed themselves back in it because of how poor everybody else has been. Scott, big fan of the channel. Hey, Scott. He was on the radio show. He says the stats don't support that, though. Connor, the team that finishes third has the best chance. That's fine, Scott. I do not agree this season whatsoever, though. As I've just mentioned in that comment, the psychological impact that this season has had, I think, on Leeds United, Leicester, and Ipswich. I think stumbling into that playoffs with 2 extra games to play is going to, it'll be 3 extra games, won't it? Home and away. Then the final, if it's to get there, is going to be a massive psychological imprint and a physical disaster on whoever is going into it. And the form team is never the team in third. Could be an outlier this season if Southampton finish third, but the form team never finishes third. And I'd be stunned if the stats don't back that up, to be honest with you, because the team that runs into 6th is normally the team that's in form, really, invariably. And I think we know if it's us stumbling into that playoffs this season, if, let's say, hypothetically, we go into it and we're still not in the best vein of form, and then we have to face 2 of the teams or 2 of the teams in that 4 bracket, that 3 bracket, I should say, as well as us. Come on. Are we really confident as a fan base with what's going on at this moment in time? I personally am not. Did you sleep, Connor? I did, mate. Yeah, I took some night nurse. Cresswell needs to start to allow Ampadu to slot into the midfield alongside Gruev. Gray needs to rest and allow Roberts at right back. Joseph to be started, but Farke will stick to the usual, in my opinion. Keep any thoughts in, everybody. Joel says definitely think Blackburn had something to play for. They were, sorry, mate, I don't know why my iPad's not picking that up. Definitely think, yeah, there we go. Blackburn had something to play for, as they were 3 points with the drop before they beat us. However, they were an awful team and there's no excuse for the performance yesterday. Yeah, potentially. Ants Leicester Fan Channel says if we get playoffs, same as you, it's season over. I agree, Ant. I think Leicester, Ipswich, and Leeds, any of us get into that 3rd spot, I think it's done. I genuinely believe it's done, and another team will beat us over 2 legs. That's my belief anyway. So the next point, 138 corners without a goal. Mr. Farke continues to talk about how we should be doing stuff from set pieces. It's 138 corners without a goal. It does line very, very nicely with Pascal Strout not being part of the set-piece structure, where he was brilliant. Even if he'd get his head on something, it'd go wide. Remember at Preston, he got his head on a couple of things and it just went wide. But Pascal was the danger. Joe Rodon's not a danger from corners. He's not. What has he done for a centre-back in the set-piece capacity this season? It's staggering. I've never seen anything like it. For someone who is 6'3", or whatever he is, 6'3", 6'4", to not cause really any problems at all from set pieces. I'm actually really surprised, to be honest with you. I'm not blaming solely Joe for that, but I don't know whether it's interpretation, anticipation, positional awareness in the box, where he needs to position himself, a conversation with the set piece taker, where he's going to put it and where should I stand. It sometimes can be as simple as that. The average conversion rate on corners is 2%. Our current rate, 1 goal in 139 corners, is 0.7%, which is 3 times below the average. So we are 3 times below the average on set pieces. Just let that rest. So we talk about the fine margins in football. We talk about deflections when it comes to Ipswich, and there's still Leeds fans who almost laugh at Ipswich for having deflected. Oh, they're so lucky. Well, why are they lucky? Fair enough. They're taking shots from outside the box. Who's the one person who was taking shots from outside the box yesterday and got substituted? Oh, yeah. Willie Gnonto. Yeah, he was doing it again, which he does consistently. Shoots from outside the box, shoots from range, and then naturally you could have a strike on goal, which you nearly had, like actually, within the 12 yards, which we don't seem to do from outside the box. But a deflection, something might happen, even if you to get handball, whatever might happen, but we don't do it. And I'm going to get into why exactly, in my opinion, Daniel Farke needs to really shape up when he comes to this Leeds United side. So we're solid at the back and we were inventive in attack prior to the international break. And since then, it has been a sieve at the back. Blackburn, in my opinion, I couldn't believe their XG, their expected goals was reflected. It was something like 0.59. But Blackburn had the better chances yesterday. Schmodix had a really good effort in the first half. Then Schmodix had a strike on goal, which was unbelievably cleared off the line by obviously Connor Roberts, another one who was causing real, I thought was giving Leeds something additional in the attack. Then he brings Roberts off for Byram. Don't know. But then we'll still get comments saying, yeah, but Connor, you don't know the injury status. So there's no point in even talking and having a discussion on the channel according to certain fans, because I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So because I've not got an insight on behind the scenes, these players might have been injured. Well, they didn't look injured on the pitch, which we can only judge by, really. We didn't see them walking gingerly, moving gingerly, or even, like, for example, people tell me Gnonto was injured, and then Daniel Farke was telling me post-match that he was he was tired and all this sort of stuff. But then when I saw Willie Gnonto coming up, I saw him shaking his head, which is maybe indicative of him not wanting to come off the pitch. And he was the sharpest Leeds player. I thought Roberts on the other side was extremely sharp as well throughout the game and didn't look tired whatsoever. But, if that is the excuse we want to run with after the game, that's absolutely fine. No problem. I think what I wanted to discuss as well was the richness of teams' attacks in this division. Now, I think really Leicester and Southampton have had some of the richest football sides in Championship history right now. You look at Ndidi, you look at Jamie Vardy, Patson Daka, Iheanacho, Mavididi, Fatawu, players like Keenan Dewsbury Hall, and then you look at Southampton, both Armstrongs, Shea Charles at this level. Just players at the start of the season where you look at and you think they are decent players. Joe Aribo at this level. But so then I decided to look back at some of the best attacks that the Championship scene. Reading, when they went up and broke the points total, Leroy Lita, Jason Roberts, Kevin Doyle, Steve Sidwell. And then you look at Newcastle, where they broke 102 points. Peter Lovenkrands, Shola Amiobi, Joey Barton, Kevin Nolan. Unbelievable side at that level. Our side is as good as any of those when it comes to the offensive structure. Any of them. When you look relative and you look at the time right now, when you look at those sides and you hear those sides, Crysencio Somerville, Willie Gnonto, Jorginho Rutter, Joel Perreault, Patrick Bamford. This is Joe Gelhardt at this level, where teams would die to have him, really. Some teams, in my opinion, even in the top 6. Jadon Anthony. This absolute mass of quality going forward should not have you in a certain structure and a certain style that literally will not be sort of modified whatsoever. And that is something that I'm sort of struggling to get on board with at this moment in time. And that is why I blame this whole week on Daniel Farke. The whole week. I thought he made serious, problematic additions to the side, the starting 11, on Tuesday when I was down there watching the game at Ellen Road. I thought his in-game management was woeful. To be quite honest with you, I thought it was really woeful. And the entire season, when you look at it, and I was doing a bit of research, I was having a look back on the games that we played. I had a look back at the goals that we'd scored over the season. This is my opinion. Our entire season has been based on individual moments. And the individuals we have in this side are cream of the crop when it comes to championship history. Marcelo didn't have this caliber of player when we were last in the championship. Not a patch. Not a patch on this caliber of player going forward. He didn't. So it's been on individual moments of brilliance. And throughout the season, how many times have you seen Leeds try funnel the ball to Crysencio Somerville, him cut inside and shoot, him cut inside and play a ball in, him cut inside and do something else, him go on the byline, switch it in with his left foot? That has been the constant motion all season from Leeds United as an attacking prospect where we've been brilliant. Or Jorginho Rutter. When the midfield has been completely absent, he gets the ball, drops deep into that pocket, comes back, can be 50 yards. We saw it against Hull City very, very recently where he dropped all the way back, picks the ball up and roams forward, takes men on. The problem is right now is both of those players are off colour. And I think right now it is making it abundantly clear to many fans who maybe haven't seen it throughout the season that this is our plan. This is the plan with these players. This is the systematic plan that we have. Pass it to Chris Somerville, cut inside and do something. Individual brilliance. Watford been indicative of that. Pass the ball to Rutter. Drop the move Leeds United forward through the transition, through the phase, and do some individual bit of brilliance, maybe combine with Firpo and Somerville on that side, and then you create something, and then we'll see what else happens. That's been the plan for the season. And when you look back and you watch Leeds' goals, you watch Leeds' build-up, you watch Leeds United through a 90 minutes throughout the season, it's always been that. And is that good enough? Is it good enough that none of our midfielders contribute to any sort of goals whatsoever? Is it good enough that we don't have a striker at this level? Even though we've spent 16 million quid on a striker who's done it twice seasons before. For me, a lot of it is down to the system and the patterns of play. We've mentioned the patterns of play beforehand in terms of switching the ball, moving the opposition out of position, playing the ball quicker in that respect, not having to shift 5 passes in the midfield across the pitch for then Leeds to get the ball to the wide right or the wide left, for us just to switch the ball and move the opposition out of position and have 1v1 battles across the pitch, especially out wide. Is that going to be then helpful for the striker because you've moved the opposition out of position as a unit? Probably. We've seen that before, haven't we? We don't want to keep going back to that, but we've seen how that works, especially when we've got wide players who hug the touchline. But the real worry here for Leeds United is we're easy to play against if you get it right. And how you get it right is presses out wide, and that's it. We will not break down a low to mid block because our midfielders don't do anything when it comes to anything offensive, and we can't figure out the striker problem still. So that's it. Play out wide, force us out wide. And then if you stop it out wide, it's fine. Mid to low block solves us. That's it. And we still, and the manager and his coaching staff haven't figured out how to get the best out of this squad at championship level. We haven't figured out a different way of playing yet. So through Somerville and through Rutter, if it's not working, which is not post-international break, I still think Rutter's suffering from surgery, if I'm honest with you. And I've spoken to someone who's very, very high up in the sports science world and someone who I completely trust. No one affiliated with Leeds United, but he's kept really close tabs on the Rutter injury. Very, very close tabs. And he's of the mindset, a similar mindset to me. He thinks he could potentially still be struggling with that. And Crysencio Somerville is just out of form. So if that's the plan going forward, and we've seen earlier on in the season, I know we've done what we've done, but you look at the goals, you look at the moments that Rutter and Somerville have cultivated together throughout the season consistently. It's been unbelievable. These two have been two of the best championship prospects we've ever seen. And never take that away. Look at Somerville's goals. Look at his big chances created. Not just the chances, but the big chances created and we've missed. Then do the exact same for Rutter. Yeah, his goals should have been better, but he had about 16 assists with 8 games to go, and the record in the Championship was something like 19. So the contribution that these two have had has been consistently unbelievable. So when they're off colour, what then? You look at yesterday as well. Gruev. I thought Gruev yesterday, it was his best game in a Leeds shirt. I thought he was unbelievable. I thought actually when he got the ball, he was looking to move forward. I thought he played some lovely long passes as well, which I've been crying for. 2 passes in that first half where he was exceptional with those lovely long passes, which bypassed that midfield block, that low block that they had. And we actually had the ball out wide in 1v1 situations, which is what we've been calling for. As fans, if we can see it, why does the gaffer not see it? And the coaching staff. That's what I don't understand. When you're at the ground and you can see the wingers touching the sidelines, what's the point in doing that? If we're just going to move the ball slowly across, then the opposition just press out wide. That's all they do in a mid to low block. Press out wide, then we force back inside, then we go to the other side. The manager seems to think that's working right now. And the problem is it's not working right now because your 2 golden gooses are not on form. So you need to think of something else. You need to think of a plan B. And he's not doing it right now. And that's a big worry for me. But he takes off Gruev. Blackburn were forcing the counter-attack throughout the game. I've mentioned at the start 3 or 4 occasions where they hit us on the counter-attack. So why in that instance do you take Gruev off? He's already made an unbelievable recovery challenge on Sammy Schmodix in that second half, of which you all remember it was a brilliant tackle. But they were in. They were in. Him and Dolan were in if Gruev hadn't have made that tackle. So when Archie's having a shocker, and Archie's been having a shocker for the best part of a month now, and he looks knackered. When Archie's having a shocker, why don't you take him off, the offensive player, and then bring another offensive midfielder on to replicate him, but keep that defensive player on? Rodon goes up for the counter for the set piece. We get counter attacked on. That's it, done, because you've got no defensive bodies back. So I think the big worry for me is Daniel's situation in his scenario is the Hail Mary. We've all seen this when we've been losing games. He brings the substitutes on, back by data with barely any minutes left. And then he goes for a formation of a 3-1-6. And that's what we do. He brings on the wingers, takes off the fullbacks. And we are, believe it or not, susceptible pretty much every single time to counterattacks. Because the wingers are just going to replicate what wingers do. And all be on that side. And not really be thinking about the defensive situation. So, yeah, I'm not a manager. I wanted to win yesterday. But worst case scenario was exactly what happened yesterday. And you lost the game. Don't lose the game. You know, I'm all about Leeds going and winning the game. You guys know what I'm like. You got to win that game. But if it's at a certain point, you manage the game. You're the manager. I'm not. I'm a fan. I'm not even a pundit. I'm a fan. And I can see, at least you don't lose the game. And with the results yesterday, you think, well, draw wouldn't have been that bad, to be honest with you. But then you lose it on a counter-attack, and your substitutions have just been absolutely hideous. And quite rightly, as Scott said, he took Nonto off, who was the main threat. And then we hear after the match, yeah, he's knackered, he's tired. Nah, not really. You made that substitution, and he didn't look tired. He was sharp as a knife. And I'm being a bit cynical here, but I'm it's all right to say it after the game, after the fact when we've lost the game. But I don't think we'd have heard anything about Nonto being a bit tired and Roberts been a bit tired post the game if we'd have won it via Daniel Farke's substitutes, to be honest with you. But yeah, I've got we've spoken as well about Rutter. Now he looks knackered, absolutely knackered. But I think as a structure, everyone, what did we have before with Marcelo? We had a little genius in the middle of the park, but then we had an absolute unbelievable box-to-box midfielder in Matthias Klick in the Championship. He would get goal after goal after goal when we needed him to, and was a brilliant offensive player and was encouraged to shoot. It was evident every time he get the ball, 30 yards, 20 yards or 30 yards or more. The song, wasn't it? 30 yards. He didn't care where he was. He'd have a pop. These players are instructed just to recycle the ball out wide to Somerville. They are every single time. Because if they're not, they'd have been instructed to shoot more, and they never do. Why are they not told to shoot more? I don't get it. When they're in brilliant situations, we've seen Kamara in unbelievable situations, passes to Somerville every single time. It's like if you don't funnel the ball out wide to Somerville, as a team, we have no No structural plan. The other structural plan is to give it to Rutter. And if he takes 15 men on and then scores brilliant, the plan's worked. But at this moment in time, he's off colour, he's off form, but you don't have a Pablo Hernandez in that midfield who can curate something absolutely spectacular, Bristol City-esque at the start of the season. We don't have someone like that. Pablo is a completely different profile to Rutter, hence why at the start of the season, and we're not doing this in hindsight right now, we're talking about a number 10, we're talking about a Buendia, an Elias Scher, a player like that, a player of that ilk who is similar to Pablo. But now, our creative outlet is out wide, so you don't have anything in the middle. You have Rutter, but when Rutter's completely off colour, he's not the same player as Pablo to just be putting these incisive balls in between, the left back and the centre back. He's not the player who's going to get the ball and bend it finesse-wise in the top corner. Pablo's a completely different profile. So they know they're funneling us out wide consistently and packing out the midfield. So they're sitting in a low block and we can't do anything about it. At this moment in time, there's no plan to do anything about it. And a lot of you are asking me, well, Connor, what's your solution? Play the ball quicker. Said it from the start. Be more expansive. Be braver. Shoot. There are ways to get round this. We've all watched Championship football for the best part of 20 years when it comes to Leeds United or lower league football, 2 decades worth of it. We all know what works. We've got the personnel on the pitch to do it. We've got arguably the best attack the Championship's ever seen, or in the top 3 at least. And our plan is to go through Jorginho Rutter and Chris Somerville every single time. We don't have a recognised striker. We've not got a goal from a midfielder all season. It's not good enough. It's really not good enough. Let me just get into a couple of your comments, everybody. I know I've been waffling on for a while here. If we're honest, where would Norwich have been without Buendia performing at the level that the Championship's not seen before? It's very strange that even Rodon is making mistakes, Connor. You're right, Connor. Our top scorer is Somerville, a winger. Yorkshire Pillow says, don't have a plan B, Connor. Last 3 games, we are must win. I still think we'll finish above Leicester. Next 3 games are horrific. Would you keep Farke next season? Either way, well, we'll have a discussion after, probably at the end of the season about that, mate. Connor, do you think Leeds are bigger than Farke? Because I think he's punching with Leeds and Farke believes he's bigger than Leeds. If we don't go up, why should we keep him? It's poor management, poor tactics, all on Farke. I don't think it's solely on Daniel Farke. I really don't. Hiya, Jamie. I've seen you in there, mate. I really don't think it's all on Daniel Farke, and I don't want to just solely blame it because the players are not performing at this moment in time. We know that, and a lot of it is a mental struggle. When you have like 19 shots on goal, 442 corners, and about 7 billion attacking actions, then you can't just solely blame Daniel Farke. But his in-game management is absolutely poor. It's poor. He's not settled on a starting 11. He doesn't know what his best. Listen, we all know Perot is what Perot is. But what I want you to take away from this, everybody, what I want you to take away from this is that we went into this season with a striker who had a fair few goals in his past 2 seasons and was potent. We spoke about it at the start. What signing Joel Perot? Southampton wanted him. We had to battle Southampton to get him. Perot said it on his interview, essentially, when he signed for Leeds. There was top Championship clubs in for me, but I chose Leeds. I wanted to do this, blah, blah, blah. I believed in the project. So you signed Joel Perot. Why is Joel Perot completely frozen out of this side? We're looking at him and we're thinking he's slow, he's lethargic, he takes too many touches. So is that just shocking recruitment? Because to me, it's not shocking recruitment. They've done what they've done. The San Francisco 49ers work on a data model, right? You go out there, you sign this player because he hits X, Y, and Z criteria, A, B, and C. So they've done that. Fantastic. You get the player through the door. Then it's up to the manager. It's up to the player. Of course it is. It's definitely up to the player, but it's up to the manager as well, maybe to systematically fit a formation, a framework, a structure around your striker. You see so many teams doing that, fitting it around the striker. But if Joel Perot wasn't the man that is going to fit in the Daniel Farke system, he's worked with Timu Pukki for the best part of 4 or 5 years. He's nowhere near a similar player to Joel Perot. He's not the same player. Mönchengladbach, Did he work with a striker similar to Joel Perreault, a marquee striker? Perreault was brought in, as we know, as we saw at the start of the season, to replace Pat Bamford. But we're at a stage of the season now, we're actually saying Bamford is better than Joel Perreault. What is that? Yes, it's down to the player, but system-wise, patterns of play-wise, it doesn't suit Joel Perreault. So as a manager, you've got to get the best out of your striker, because your striker gets you 25 plus goals a season. That fires you into the Premier League. And then you can reevaluate his position if he's good enough. But to not get the best out of him whatsoever, I think is a managerial issue. Personally, I think the player is at fault. Of course he is. But the manager needs to set something up. Surely we should do something which benefits Joel Perreault like he did at Swansea. Surely, I don't even know if we could work within a framework that could aid him that was similar to that of Swansea, a 4-3-3, of a 3-4-2-1, something of the like, 2 number 10s. I don't know. And then a striker. It is something that I think a coaching staff has to sort of evaluate before getting a £16 million player in. We've got a striker who is on the bench, who any team would die for at this level, especially at the start of the season. And he looks awful. He looks absolutely awful. 90 minutes yesterday, he was a complete passenger on the pitch. So why are we not getting the best out of him? Why is Farke not getting the best out of him? Like he constantly talks about, I used to be a striker. I'm the man who can get the best out of strikers. We remember that press conference. Well, you're not doing so, mate. With Matteo Joseph, Joel Perreault, and Pat Bamford, who really, 3 strikers there who a lot of teams in this division would take. That's something we need to talk about as well. The fact that, the striker situation isn't sorted, but even Jorginho Rutter, if it's not, what about Joe Gelhardt? Something different in that number 10. We've seen Gelhardt be so effective off the right. Inverted, he's brilliant. Willie Gnonto in the 10, Dan James out wide. But nothing. I didn't mind his changes yesterday. I really didn't mind his changes. But if I look back and evaluate, and I said this on the video yesterday, the reason I was really happy about it was because Bamford was out the side and Gnonto was starting and Roberts was starting. That was it, really. But within 5-10 minutes, you saw it wasn't working. Literally, within 10 minutes, you saw it wasn't working with Joel Perreault. But it then takes however many minutes for him to make a substitution again. So I think, listen, I'm not solely blaming him, but there needs to be some serious discussion here. Bamford, once again, obviously comes on, as we know, in terms of instead of Matteo Joseph for a large period of time. And I would argue he missed. There's a chance where he was taken down by McFadzean by his arm, but it's just Bamford being strong. Firpo put a really good ball in. I think he should have done better. And the brilliant ball Gnonto put in, which every striker is absolutely gagging for. Whip ball in, there's pace on the ball. It's a low to mid-driven ball, and you just need to touch on it, a faint touch. He heads it, balloons it over the bar, and then looks down at the floor like this. Body language not good whatsoever. Just completely out of form. But then Farke brings Joseph and Anthony on for a combined 10.5 minutes. And the reality is, everybody, we're still in it. We are still in it, of course. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't for a Hull City moment of madness, when it came down to Slater diving in on Somerville, this would have been, what would it have been? 2 losses and 3 draws. There needs to be some serious change. I'm sorry that this isn't a bit more positive. I'm sorry that I'm not coming on here and saying we're going to get promoted. I really feel at this moment in time, everybody, that the manager, I know the players are not performing, but it's up to the man at the helm with the best squad, in my opinion, that the Championship has seen in a long time, with probably Leicester and Southampton, those 3, the best squads the Championship has seen in a long time, for him to do something different with that squad. I think that's where you earn your coin as a manager. I don't think, we can look at players, of course we can, but who's picking the players? Let's go through some more of your comments, everybody. Con not to make excuses, but those 2 pens given versus Blackburn, different story. I know, Dormston, but we should be winning the game anyway, mate. We waste our own time. with how sloppy and lethargic we can be in certain instances. You know, overcooking, undercooking crosses. We waste our own time as well, mate. So people always go on about the time being wasted by the referee, and I understand that, completely get that. But we waste our own time. We also time waste by doing bad practice in football games. The manager wastes our own time by not making the correct substitutions at the correct time. That's wasting our time as well. Pellegrino says, to be fair, Farke subbed Nonso so that he didn't push himself too hard, so that we have to have him in the remaining games. Farke did say that he was torn and tempted. Yeah, but you're playing Blackburn at home. Must win, really. So what's he on about? I don't know. Just my thoughts, everybody. The thoughts of a Leeds United fan. Listen, we're going to be back throughout the week for your content. I'm actually away next week, but we'll be bringing you all your Leeds United content as well, even when I am away. Guys, let me know what you think. I'm really interested to hear. Thanks for joining on this one. It's been an absolute pleasure. Head on over to Patreon for some bonus content. If you want some merchandise, link in the description below. Let's get through it, everybody. But we'll have your content over here. Make sure you get your post notification bell on so you are notified anytime I upload. I'll see you on the other side.